Rocket Football Nation. We're going to host Trigg County for homecoming this week. Rocket's been on a 2-game losing streak, Coach Thompson, and I know it kind of makes your stomach turn a little bit. And we've fallen out of the top 10 in the rankings, probably rightfully so. First time all season since we've been out of the rankings, and we're tied now at number 13 with Fulton County, a team we're going to see a little later in the season. The team's playing pretty well. The RPI rankings, we've fallen out of the top 10 in that. We're down to number 16 now. And we're going to talk about all this, and we're going to talk about maybe some changes we're going to see this week against Trigg County. And we'll get to all of that in just a second after we hear a word from our sponsors.
You know, ever since I was a child, I've loved land. I loved every land. My mother's father was a farmer, so that my granddaddy and his father was a farmer. And I spent my childhood's summers in coming to Kentucky and working on the farm. And everything from the smell of dirt to feeling it run, the dirt go between your fingers, there's nothing like it.
5 regular season home games, at least 2 home playoff games, at 8 touchdowns per, 56 touchdowns. That's a lot of booms.
I love option play.
Was that a 42 speed option?
Are you looking for a banking option?
Sequence, Federal Credit Union.
Come to Marion and see.
Thompson, we're going to talk about Trigg County. And we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about Trigg County because I'm going to take something out of your playbook. The last few weeks you've been talking about we need to worry about us. So we're going to talk more about us this week than we are the opponent. But let's visit Trigg County, and you can sum up Trigg County, a whole lot of Trigg County, in one name. That's Cam Jordan.
Yeah, for sure. Our one word, athletes. They're all over the field. We're going to have to play disciplined football and do our job. It's like you said in the introduction, it's about us this week. We have to go out and make sure that we do what we're supposed to do on every play. You know, that's what's been getting us the last couple of weeks, is us not doing our job. They're a team that can score in a play. You know, they got athletes all over the field. They can take it the distance anytime they touch it. And defensively, they use those athletes to stack the box and play man. So they try to take a lot of things away from you, or a lot of things that we do offensively away, just by saying, man, we're better athletes than you. And, you know, in a lot of places, they are very athletic. But, you know, if we go out and do our job and do what we're coached to do, we know how to handle these situations. But we have to do it. And we haven't shown the last couple of weeks that we've been able to do that. So hopefully this week we can get going in the right direction.
Against Paducah Tillman last week, of course, they lost fairly handily, but they scored first. And they lost the week before that to Murray by a sizable margin after winning the first 4 games of the season against some teams that they probably should have beaten.
Yeah, for sure. They're sitting in the same situation that we're sitting in. You know, we're both in a 2-game losing streak and have struggled the last couple of weeks. So we're both coming into this game looking for a win, and you know, someone's going to get one this Friday. Hopefully we're on the right side of that. But you know, they're probably questioning some things that they do, and looking at themselves and thinking, what can we do to turn this around? So you know, it's going to be the team that comes in and makes the least amount of mistakes and has the kids that are up to the task of getting a W. You know, that's what we talk about the kids is, you know, each week when you go out there, it's not a job, it's a game. And if you're confident in what you're doing or what you're supposed to do, then you're going to do that and you're going to have fun doing it. And right now we just don't look like we're having fun. So I don't know if the game is stressful for them right now, or they are questioning what is being asked of them. I don't know, but you know, we just got to get back to where we're believing in having fun flying around playing football. And I expect them to do that this week.
Well, we'll have to certainly keep our eye on Cam Jordan. They've scored 33 touchdowns this year. He's scored 22 of them.
Yeah,
and he's already committed to college.
Yeah, to Navy. He's a very explosive player. What makes him special is his ability to throw the ball down the field. But what it comes down to is when it all breaks down, he has those legs, and he can run around and make you miss. He's hard to tackle. He reads things well. You know, he's a guy that will have to keep bottled up and in the pocket and really force him to throw, because he can hurt you with his legs as well. And at this age, it's just so much more difficult to complete a pass, than it is to just take the ball and run. And he does that well, so we want to try to keep him bottled up.
And they certainly have some other guys that go with him.
Oh, for sure, yeah. The Bridges kid is just fast. He's a guy that they like to go vertical to, throw the ball down the field to, and also get it to him quick. They try to move him around and get him in position, get the ball in his hand. He's their guy. He's the guy that's the big play waiting to happen. So he's dangerous.
Well, they're going to be a good, explosive football team, and we'll have to be ready for them.
For sure.
We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back and talk about the Rocket defense this week against Trigg County.
Welcome to Hometown Chiropractic. I'll be right with you.
I'm Darren Tabor, Homestead Auction Realty. Let us get you across the goal line with a new home.
You go in the game this week, you're going style, Rocket fans. Come by Max 2 Custom Kit and Detail for a $15 wash.
Here at H&H, we've got just about anything that it takes to get you back out on the field.
Hey Rocket football fans!
Let Rommel Ellington tackle your dirty ride. Coach Thompson, we're going to talk about the defense. This is a defense that played pretty well last week against Union County, and we're coming into this game with a dual offense that we've got to protect against. Last week it was mostly the run.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's on the plate this week?
The defense played well enough last week for us to win the game, and we had some guys really step up and play well. And Maddox Carlson and Noah McGowan. Those are both guys that we're going to see a lot more this week, just because you have to reward their effort and the plays that they're making. So we'll see them on the field a little bit more than they've been in the past few weeks, which Maddox started the game last week and filled in for Justin Phillips, who had the bruised ribs from the Caldwell game, and Phillips is back, so we'll have Phillips inserted back into the defense, but it's not going to really cut into Maddox's time. We're going to have Maddox out there on the field. When you play as well as he played, you have to find a way to keep him on the field. So
I interviewed Noah McGowan after the game last week, and he's a giant of a young man, but he's very soft spoken, and it just doesn't fit what you see out on the football field.
Yeah, it's funny. And I'm a shy person too, so I'm not going to give my impression.
You're getting better at it, though.
I'm not going to give my impression of him, but if we weren't on camera, I'd give my impression of Noah. But he had a few words that he would say to me for the first probably month that I was getting to know him, and then he opened up, but I had to come out of my shell to help him come out of his, and now that he's out of it, he's a character.
Well, he transferred from Caldwell County via Miami. He had been at Caldwell County, grew up over there, and had gone to Miami, and then came to us when he moved back to Kentucky.
Right on time.
Right on time, and he can be a special player, and he's just a junior. We'll have him back next year.
Yes.
Yeah, good young man.
Yeah, he's a very good kid. He fits in the locker room and with the guys just the same as he does on the field for us. So it was a big addition to be able to get him, a player like him, and also a kid like him. Just keep us going in the right direction.
With Trigg, the way he throws the ball deep, any changes about how you're going to defend that deep with any personnel changes?
No, we're going to go out there and do the things that we do. We have some things put in to make sure people don't get over the top, but it's nothing no surprises or anything like that. If you've watched us play, you've seen us defend the pass, and at times this year we were bad at it early, but it was more youth or inexperience in our secondary as it was the scheme. So we're going to keep on with what we do and not have them out there thinking. We're going to have them out there playing football. That's the goal this week in our defensive game plan.
That's why you have to play defense, isn't it? Not play free and fly around. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors, and we'll be right back and get to that Rocket offense.
Hello, I'm Rick Hughes at Deer Lakes Golf Course in Salem, Kentucky, home of Rocket golfers.
Kelly. It's almost Friday.
And we'll see you at Rocket Stadium.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're going to talk about the Rocket offense, which sputtered a bit last week. Really the first time this year. I mean, even against Caldwell, we had some offense, had some good offensive series against Caldwell County. But last week against Union County, that 14-0 loss, just really couldn't get a rhythm going at all.
Yeah, every time we'd have something good happen, we would shoot ourselves in the foot with a mistake or penalty, missed assignment, lack of communication. And it's like I was talking about earlier, it goes back to being comfortable in what you're doing. If they're not confident in what they're doing, then that doesn't allow them to be the football player they are. So offensively, we've really taken a lot of steps back, and we're going to get back to the basics of what we do, the things that we've been practicing since they've been with me, period, and be good at what we do this week and make that work for us against what Trigg does, which they run a 3-4 defense with man cover zero over the top of that, and then they'll vary their secondary and sometimes sit in a zone, but I'm sure that they'll come out and zero against us so they can put more guys in the box and really try to take X out of the game. That's what I would do. Yeah. You know.
Of course, last week, 4 interceptions. Hunter probably struggled more in that game. Our quarterback, Hunter Jones, struggled probably more in that game, and he's been very efficient in the games prior to that. Is there any look at trying to get what are we doing to try to improve our passing game going forward now?
We're just trying to make sure they're comfortable in their reads. You know, each week you face another defense, and we're facing high school defenses here. You know, Caldwell does what they do. Right. They're not going to change, but, you know, we'll go out and we'll prepare for a team, and they come out and do something different to stop Crittenden County than what they did the week before. And you know, it makes it difficult when they're trying to make those reads and they don't necessarily understand what's going on. So we just want to make sure that our quarterbacks can make the reads on the plays that we're trying to run. We've simplified and done. We're doing less. We want to be good at making our reads fast and getting the ball out right now, making quick decisions and not holding it. And making sure we trust the guys in front of us, because the line's done a really good job of protecting the quarterback all season, really. That's one thing that we've been at from the jump. We've been able to stand back there and look down the field. He's had time to do that, and at times his feet haven't looked like he had time to do that. So we want to get him better in his drop, and that goes with just knowing what he's going to do. If he doesn't know what he's going to do when he's at the top of his drop, that's when he freaks out. So we're helping him with his pre-snap, being able to make the read. He's coming in and he's watching film in the week, you know, because he's a senior and he gets to work half the day. So sometimes they'll let him come back to me early, an hour early, and we'll watch some film there before we go out to practice. So, you know, he wants to be great, and what I just need him to understand is I'm not asking him to be able to make every play that a quarterback that you expect other quarterbacks make. I need him to make the plays he can make, and that's it.
And when he's struggling, you look down the depth chart, and the guys, you know, we've had a quarterback competition most of preseason and coming into the season, but those guys, as far as, you know, bringing in just a passer, we just don't have a guy that's got an arm that's going to throw like Hunter Boone had last year.
No, we definitely don't have a Hunter Boone, but Braxton, he does throw the ball well. The thing with Braxton is the same issues that Hunter has is the happy feet and understanding what's in front of me. So, you know, Braxton, when he hurt his leg, it kind of limited his reps those couple weeks, because we need him at linebacker. You know, Jonesy was playing pretty good, so it limited his reps, and you know, this week we got him more reps. They were probably more like 55-45% on the reps, and we went in and tried to prepare Braxton. If we have those struggles, you have to. If we come out and have the same struggles we had last week, there's got to be a change. You got to see what the other guy can do. So Braxton is game ready this week to play quarterback, and he's healthy enough now we can get back to using him like we were when we were going dual quarterbacks and playing both. So that's back this week because he is 100% on the knee. So we'll see Braxton get in there and run the ball. Maybe not always at quarterback, but also some other positions just to get the ball in his hands because he's a guy that can go get yards for us. And then we've also worked Luke Kreider. He's a guy. The big thing with Luke is his decision making. He makes really good decisions. He's shown in the JV games he can make decisions under pressure. And I know on a Friday night it's a little bit different than in a JV game, but at the same time he's making quick decisions with the ball and he's making good choices. And when you have a guy that can do that and get the ball out of his hands as opposed to holding it and keeping it out of the athlete's hands, then that's a guy that you got to give an opportunity. So we might see him get in there and get some opportunities. I just don't want to put him in a situation that he may not be ready for on Friday night, just because it's a little more pressure on a Friday night than on a Monday.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Full Body Fitness, training Rockets and Rocket fans since 2006.
From our team to yours, we're behind you all the way, Rockets. Par 4 Plastics, where people make the difference.
All right, Coach, now let's talk a little bit about maybe some personnel changes that we're going to see on offense this week. I'll just let you go through what you got, some changes.
Our guys seemed kind of gassed last week, so Preston stepped up and he's been making Preston Morrison. I know I say Preston. I call them both Preston too. I don't know how they know.
I call them Little Preston and Big Preston.
I call them Preston and Preston. They always look at me. I think they figured out. I say one different than the other or something, but they figured it out now. It works. But Preston Morrison, he's shown that he's ready to play. He's grown up defensively. He's not a freshman anymore. He showed in special teams with the ball in his hand he could be an explosive guy, and he's a guy that needs to be on the field. So we've worked him in more personnels. Because we do everything based off personnel, and I know sometimes we get stuck in the personnel, but we do it off personnel. So we have guys. There's a group of guys that stand behind me, ready for their number to be called, so they can go in. And what we've done is put him in more personnels to be on the field, and we kind of switched T-Bone a little bit in that situation. Because when T-Bone's fresh, he's a guy offensively that's he's a threat. So when him and Preston are on the field together, you'll see them line up in different places than they've lined up in the past. And then up front, Holden Cooks, he's a guy who's just he went in last week and every
coming back from pneumonia.
Every opportunity he got, he did his job. A guy that's going to do their job like that, you got to give him the opportunity. So we're going to see him play a little bit more this week and shift some guys around up there just to see the combinations we have up front. And our line's been playing pretty good. So they got to continue to do that, but he's just a guy that's really stood out, so we want to make sure we reward that and get him on the field a little bit more.
I know you've put in a grading system for your offensive line now, or the whole offense.
Whole offense, yeah. Because, sometimes you get comfortable at practice, we have so many young guys that may not be ready to play on Friday night. They're freshmen or they're sophomores. They're just not ready to play on Friday night physically or mentally. So you get comfortable, and then at practice, when you're comfortable, you don't work as hard. So what we've done is we're grading them on Friday nights for that accountability, that competition with themselves, just to create that form. And it should, with the kind of kids we have, that should drive them because they want to be great at what they do. And it's just simple. They either did what they're supposed to do, they did their job, or they didn't. It's that simple. And the man in them is gonna drive them to make sure that they grade out every week. So that's what we're doing with that, just to create a little bit of competition.
Yeah, accountability is good in all walks of life, isn't it? We'll be right back to close out the show.
Through the week, we are welding and fabricating. On Friday nights, we are grinding it out with the Rockets. Touchdown, Rockets!
Since 1973, Hodges has been equipping Rockets and Rocket fans with gear and apparel. Come see us! We'll see you Friday night at the football game.
T-Bone, good luck this week.
Thank you.
Good luck this week, Hayden.
Boys, we gotta know what the game plan is this week.
We're banking on you.
All right, Rocket trivia fans, here we go. We're going to close out the show here with the trivia question. As you know, every week we do this, and if you know the answer, go down to H&H Home and Hardware on Sturgis Road, across from Food Giant. Tell those folks down there who the answer to the trivia question is, and if you've got it right, the first person to do it, you'll get a free round of golf down at Deer Lakes Golf Course at Salem. Rick Hughes, Crittenden County graduate, is a golf pro down there, and appreciate Rick sponsoring or being one of the sponsors for the trivia question. So this week's trivia question, this is a tough one, probably the toughest one I ever remember. You're going to have to really pour through the record book if you're going to find this one, guys. Name the only Rocket player with 1,000 or more rushing yards, 750 or more passing yards, and 200 or more receiving yards. Has to be a pretty versatile athlete, Coach Thompson.
I was close.
I'm sure you.
Me personally, I was very close, but the receiving yards.
Yeah, you didn't.
I had one game receiving for 100 and something.
Yeah, you're always looking at my question.
Yeah, I got to figure it out.
And don't forget, Boots for Bucks will be back at every home game. And this week, I looked earlier on Facebook because that's where we post it. You go on and share our post about Boots for Bucks. We have a little video on that post. Mark Williams of Whitetail Properties is the sponsor, and he tells about Boots for Bucks. 35-yard field goal. If you make it, you get $100, and he gets $100 for his football program. So we appreciate all those who are sharing, and we will pick someone and contact you in the next day.
Don't be shy. Come out and try to make some money for us and yourself. That's what people were like. I don't want to share it, but I do want to share it, but I don't want to be picked. Yeah.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun to get out there and see how far a 35-yard
field goal. How hard it is.
And you might get a chance to scoot it in just a little bit. Maybe. All right. We're going to close out the show here with some final comments from Coach Thompson. Trigg County, another tough out for us, 3 in a row here, and they're coming in, as you mentioned earlier in the show, both teams really want to win. Right. We've got homecoming. I know that's always a distraction. Next week's fall break, so you got 2 weeks here in a row where you're out of your routine a little bit. So.
Sure. What it comes down to is the team that's hungrier than the other is going to win. I think that we'll see ups and downs, and the team that is more disciplined come the end of the game and wants it just a little bit more will be the team to pull it off. I expect it to be a hard-fought battle between both teams. And I expect our guys to be better than they were last week. I think that at practice you can tell they're kind of embarrassed how they not necessarily like they played bad or anything, more that they didn't play with the same excitement, the same joy. They didn't put the same product out for all the fans that they typically do. So I expect to see them come this week with a whole lot more.
And I think, I know the rankings are just for fun and for conversation, but I've talked to some of the guys, and that's hurt them. Yet to fall out of the top 10 for the first time, because they feel like the mantra this year is prove it, and they feel like they didn't leave it all out there last week, so we're looking forward to this week. Get back on track.
We got a lot to prove this week. One thing that I do want to point out is we got the blast from the past coming back to the voice of the Rockets. I think it's pretty for me,
Dale Brantley.
He was the voice when I played, and he had all his little catchphrases, so I'll be excited.
Another first and 10. Todd Riley, our normal PA guy, will be out this week. So Sean said, "Do you think we can get Dale Brantley?" Well, I think we can get him, and we're pleased to know that Dale has taken on this task for this week. So we're excited to see him.
He'll do a good job.
Don't forget, homecoming, coronation starts at 6:30. Kickoff 7 p.m. Trigg County. We'll see you Friday night at Rocket Stadium.
Everything in this country was built from the ground up, and it starts with land. When I can go out and take somebody onto a property and see that gleam in their eye when they find a farm that they fall in love with because they're as passionate about land as I am, that's when the magic happens. That's what makes what we do so great. There's no dollar amount. There's nothing else that can compare to the look you get when somebody signs on that dotted line and their dreams have come true about owning land.